Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj Mathur and Professor Amrita Madan for guiding us through the themes of today's enlightening sessions. Now, without further ado, let's dive into our first session, focusing on climate change. Yes. So our first session, the climate change, unfolds in 5 distinct sections: the point, the approach, the cutting edge, the project, the opportunity, culminating into a panel discussion. So our first session focuses on climate challenge. We explore the pivotal role of sustainability in the built environment. Leading this session, esteemed speakers are trailblazers in their respective domains. I would like to invite on stage architect Tanmay Tathagat. Can we welcome him with a big round of applause? Tanmay, Director of Environmental Design Solutions, who will share insights on sustainable policies and strategies for the built environment in India. Joining him is architect Sujata Hingorani, Principal Landscape at Oasis Designs, who will shed light on innovative approaches to address the climate challenge. Let's welcome architect Tathagat and architect Hingorani. Welcome.
Yes. Okay, good morning. Namaskar. One of the advantages of having a gathering of this sort is you not only connect and meet with old friends, but also get an opportunity to see what new is happening and where the discourse is moving to. And this particular issue of climate change, there's not been a single event or a workshop in the last maybe 10 years which has not talked about it. The whole ideas, discussions, the thought process, I don't think I need to repeat. We all know what the imperatives are, why it is important, what needs to be done. And in our own individual practices, in our work, we are somewhere or the other conscious of what we could do to make that change so that we are addressing the project, but at the same time looking at issues of climate change, from materials to cooling to comfort to air quality and all of that. But what really has changed in the last 10 years, if we just see objectively, from the time that people were doing this as passive architecture, and all those things to today, what has changed, and has this problem compounded, or have we started to solve this problem? So the panel we have today and projects that which you did for this session have all addressed this challenge in a different way. There's a whole range of typology of buildings, different kinds of clients, and that's where you'll see each project and each architect has brought a different approach to solving this problem. And that's where I feel is the main difference between how what is this issue of energy efficiency and renewables, all that in a project as opposed to, let's say, the industrial sector or the any other sector, because there you have a strategy, you solution, that is 5 of doing. And very often, it's the integration of everything together that makes it more sustainable or gets us to closer to the solution. And where things succeed is where this integration works well. Where things fail, where you may have done everything, but it's not integrated. Your thinking is not integrated. You're looking at it, it's just the material, it's just cooling, or it's just this or that. So again, I know all the projects that are being presented today, and I think these are the really shining examples where everything has come together in an integrated way. So I look forward to that. But before we go there, Sujata has put together a context for all of this that encompasses why we are here, where the profession is, and what needs to be done. So she will take us further, and then this will set the background for us to see the projects that are being presented. Sujata.
Thank you so much, Tanmay. It's great to be among the fellow professionals. So I've put together something, as Tanmay said, just to set the context for the entire. So we are, of course, we all know that we are facing this climate crisis, and where we are today and what we are doing, and in terms of the carbon cycles, that is getting changed, and it's like a reactionary kind of a mode that we are. So the symposium comes at a very good time for us to kind of analyze our location in this present situation. So as we know that we are inhabitants of this earth, but we have kind of overlooked that we are co-inhabitants with everybody, every other organism around. So we have to kind of limit ourselves in a way to more compact places, and cities, you can say, is our habitat. So what do the cities have? So cities have things that we require for us to function properly. Now, cities in typical, the really successful cities have been kind of growing over, period of time, either horizontally or vertically, but in India, mostly horizontally, and not even doing it in a way optimize transit. Rather, if there is one city which is a magnetic city, then it's a footprint. Now, if we look at the where architecture happens, the developer segment, and where the actual buildings come in, there are beautiful brochures and all that are kind of printed, but we don't see any people, or we don't see whatever is outside. But actually, these beautiful buildings have not really related themselves to the city. So they are separate entities to the real city that is happening, and the real city also is not relating to even transit and of the hub, which is a walkable place, but it's surrounded by. So it's really sad that we are making walkable places, but we are not relating it to the city. Similarly, for smaller plots also, our bylaws, policies, whatever, certain things in which always get guided. And is something to be looked at. And another thing is that we don't understand what is private and what is public. So, place happens is we see the city from the lens of this parking. Whereas this was a picture of near NDMC area and land, but we are giving it for parking. This is a new Lulu hypermarket in Coimbatore, very fancy building, but right in front of that is a huge parking lot, which is right next to the road. So contextualized ourselves. तो फ्लाईओवर बनना है Ames area, there was East Kidwai Nagar, West Kidwai Nagar. Now, because of, I know a lot of co-professionals have designed a lot of areas around it, but I'm just talking about the public realm of what we have done to even a new block that is coming of Ames has these roads and all again, making it a divider, not a connector. But it has this service road access, we don't know. Metro station, metro has come in, but what is our response then? Water, how we are managing or not managing. So it is an infrastructure issue. There's a lot of water which falls out here in the cities. We don't manage it. We put the pollutants inside the ground. So these are, then let us recontextualize. So what we are cities for the human, and what do humans need? We love nature. That is why we love nature and we want to be in these kind of places. Now, the mechanistic worldview that we have had since the last 2 centuries is also changing, because we are now going from a mechanistic science to quantum mechanics, where what we can also change. Action, observing, we can change something. So every ripple or experience aren't just passive echoes. Truth lies in the crossroads of science and philosophy, between thought and reality. Nature reality is not fixed but objective and is shaped by our thoughts and consciousness. So William Blake has said this: the eye that alters, alters all. So what we are doing now also is we are thinking from our left brain, which is verbal, rational, mechanistic, sees things in us. But our right brain is something which has a holistic. These are new findings out of neuroscience and psychology that have come. So where did we start going wrong? So we have gone wrong mostly in most of these. So the transition happened because the industry started happening in the city. Those highways inside our cities. And then after that we could just make any patterns on ground. It didn't matter. The context was, plots are carbon neutral or whatever. But this whole 2 lines is huge parking. So how much, and then people have to always come to their places in the car and everything. So we are basically seen like in the 17th century, where again, looking at the positive side and looking at recontextualizing this whole symposium, I think we can look at relationships between all these parameters and how the built and the transit can kind of talk to each other. We have some examples of the past. New York really works well because of its really nice grid, and it can really take in new developments within it by changing the FARs and everything, and the public and private, they keep on repurposing to make it talk to the city more. But what we still are doing, like if you look at the image on the right, we have Noida on the left of the river, then the Greater Noida. And now we are making another new city called Jewar, near the Jewar airport. So again, we are kind of spreading further away. Instead of that, is there a way to actually look at brownfield development within our cities? Look at livability. Like Barcelona has a beautiful block system where their blocks were very small. So now they are creating more, spaces for the people around. And looking at existing typologies to do the infill developments. Now this was done in Singapore in the 1960s or 70s, Robertson Key, where they designed it in such a way that they had these policies of how the city will talk to its they kept the block sizes small, the typology of the blocks, connections at whatever level. So architecture was really talking to the city. So in terms of the verticals also. Now, parking is another thing which we are given as policy matter, that parking you have to give. Those are basically parking mandates. Now, parking mandates is something that we can look at not plot-based but area-based. So that is something maybe we can start a discussion on. So what is the way forward? So we need to break the silos of architecture, landscape, and maybe try to integrate ourselves to the city, build to the city buildings. So here we see an opportunity of looking at all of it together and looking at a field of intersections where we can look at better cities. So I'll read out a small note by Kathleen Rain. She had written about William Blake's fourfold city, Jerusalem. Jerusalem bears the name of the city described in the Holy Book of Revelation. The city coming down from heaven, which is the human task to embody on earth. Jerusalem is the city of imagination, the work of golden builders who have labored to create on earth a city in the likeness of the world within, because the kingdom of the heaven is within. The outer world, unilluminated by the imaginative vision, is Babylon, which is a biblical symbol of exile. Jerusalem is the divine human kingdom. Cities are human kingdoms, the human collective task, never completed, ever building, ever decaying, desolate. It is for every generation to keep that city in repair, to add to it new works for the soul to inhabit, as we inhabit the entire human past. These works embody our deepest knowledge and sublimest vision. But Jerusalem is not to be found in one place or time, but in a universal life created wherever humankind is at work. The human story began in the garden, nature, and ends in the human kingdom, the city. The city is not only its building, it is a great energy of creation at work. It comprises not architecture alone, but painting, music, poetry, universities, works of science, all expressions of things great and small, which embody our inner and create our outer worlds. In antiquity, great cities were loved and valued by their inhabitants, and banishment was termed a punishment. What disasters have befallen? Our cities have become places of alienation and exile. Thank you.
Wow, what an insightful presentation it was. Thank you, architect Sujata Ingurani and architect Tanmay Tathagat. Can we have a big round of applause for the wonderful presentation they had? Also, for all the speakers, I would request them to adhere to their time limits. And without further ado, let's move on. Now it's time to explore some cutting-edge architectural wonders. So let's welcome on stage architect Darius A. Choksey, Director Architecture at CCBA Private Limited, who will explain the cutting edge in Suzlon One Earth. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause, Architect Choksey on stage.
Good morning. The building that I'm going to show today is called Suzlon One Earth. It's a building that is completed almost 15 years ago, but it is still relevant today. The reason why it is relevant till today is because the way it was planned, the way it was executed, and the vision that it what we discussed now in terms of environment, in terms of sustainability, in terms of planning for the future, also has got a lot of indirect advantages also. If you understand that if you don't have to keep on giving the building into upgrading it, there's a lot of body energy that can be saved in it all throughout. So this is the building that was completed. It was a corporate office for a group called Suzlon. Unfortunately, the group didn't do too well, though recently it's looking up again. The wind has picked up, one might say. It was completed, it was built in a part of Pune, which was still being developed. So this was how the project had got famous. It got Griha and both lead ratings. It was the largest project at the time with the ratings. It started off as a normal, when the client approached us, there was a small design competition that we'd won, and then the client approached us for a corporate office building. The approach that we took was to sort of create it as, it was a 10-acre plot with an FSI of 0.9. So instead of building one tower over it, we sort of designed it as a ground scraper, so to speak of, making it a village campus feel rather than a tall tower, which would make it more alienated for all the people sitting. This is all 2005, 2006 when the design was conceptualized. Different elements started moving into creating a vocabulary of details which sort of joined together to create that. This is a basic of the design evolution. Started going into details, construction. One thing one has to realize that from day one when it was approached, it was a ground plus 2, ground plus 3 story structure. The building on the left was a corporate learning center, which was ground and 1. The entire site was made into a basement, so essentially it was all vehicle-free movement all across. This was a site in a place called Magarpatta in Pune. It was developing. It's now become one of the top IT hubs in residential areas. And it was designed with large open spaces, natural lighting for almost all the inhabitants who were there. It was for 2,500 people, a huge number in 2005, 2006. So all this was done, and then suddenly the site changes. It shifted about 2 kilometers away. And that's when we had the entire design. The site had a different orientation to a large extent. The buildings had to be redone. It all comes as part of the challenge that is design and architecture. And then it's sort of getting that he wanted one part of the site rectangle and not a rectangle to be completely separated away. And that's how it's, but then we developed, and this is how it started. So So in 2006, we started building on it. And we went ahead. This background to it is very important, is the basics building blocks of what was planned for and designed for are very important for any structure. Because once we started construction, this is how our details developed over a period of time. So it's a complete process that sort of reiterates itself almost on a weekly basis until a language is created. These are the concepts that took place across all the concept designs that we'd worked off on the different sites. Vehicle-free, sustainability. Sustainability is used as a noun here. We don't use sustainability as an adjective. So any building what has to be designed should be sustainable. It's not that you design a sustainable building per se. This is the final design solution that went ahead. These are various parts of it. This is the basement which was being called for as a terminus. The landscape, the interior layouts. Most of it had got natural light as part of the thing. We have to understand this is 2005, 2006, 2007 was when construction was going on. LED lights were not there, Wi-Fi, smartphones were not there. So all this was planned, could easily incorporate an IBMS at that stage. It was modular planning, which worked out very well. So while all this was going on in 2006, in 2007, the client invited us for a meeting and said, I need the top level in lead and I need the top level in Terry. Can it be done? The building was already under construction. But the fundamentals of the core plan or were good enough to sort of take it into it. We have Tanmay here. He was instrumental in getting us the details and rating, because that was, I think, one of the first large projects that were done at this scale. And it was a new experiment for all of us to try and get ratings to a building that is already under construction. And this is the project that's built. It's still running today, though Suzlon doesn't use it. It's sort of leased out to various. It's still called Suzlon One Earth. This is all on a basement down. Even the basement is naturally lit, naturally ventilated also. We got these skylights and sky courts. That's the water body in the basement with a deep sum in the center part of the site. The canteen again at the lower level. And all the buildings sort of open out into that. These circular vents open all the way through the basement, and they sort of exhaust out the hot air through the basement passively. There's no active element involved in that. So the design period took about 1.5 to 2 years. The construction period took another 2 years. And then I think there were about 15 agencies involved in the various elements of design and detail. In fact, the joke was that the meetings that we used to have, the weekly meetings, used to take over 2 days just to complete with all the consultants. But it's sort of a symphony of different agencies that come into this. And the architect is the conductor. He has to sort of direct them, give them true direction, and then it can work wonders. The word we had created at that time was synergy between different consultants to create a structure that is timeless, so as to speak. It's and it's aged gracefully. The materials are all used which sort of do not age or do not get old very fast. They are sustainable. So there was a volume of recessed windows on the top floor and on the ground floor. There were louvers on the first and second floor, again with a buffer between the louvers and the glass, so that for maintenance. And we also created a sort of a heat sink, which didn't allow the heat to sort of go out. This the terminus was actually the basement. It was created with a very different approach to make it look lively, to make it integrated in the building. As you can see, there's a lot of natural light in various areas. These lights that were used in the basement were LED lights which were imported from Poland because we wanted a certain rating. But there was no structure, no person in India who was willing to give LED lights at that time. These are the sky courts at the lower level. This is the G+1 structure with a large central courtyard which was covered with BIPV panels. The site sort of generated almost 8% of the power in-house with solar panels and windmills. Fortunately, Suzlon didn't make small windmills. This is still the time of large non-LED screens, TFT screens. So this is just in a nutshell what things were done in the project, whether it be in HVAC. We've got the first water-cooled VRV system. We've got solar heaters at that time, PV panels. There was provision for electric charging. 80 cars all across Pune at that time which were electric. And all of this was done as with a lot of brainstorming, with a lot of discussions, and the original vision stood tall all across these changes. Things that were done in the building. There was a rainwater harvesting tank of 4 lakh liters at that time, which was a huge amount. The substation we earlier started with as 8 megawatts. By the time we finished with all the inputs we got from the various consultants, it took just 4 megawatts, including it's a 1 million square feet space. And this is the entire team that worked on it through various ups and downs and completed it. Each one sort of did their scope, and it created a structure which stands the test of time, and actually it's one earth, which is what we have to look at in the long run, how we plan for, how we build for, and how we maintain our buildings. All these things together have to be factored in of designing any structure for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Choksi, for taking us through architectural wonder that Suzlon One Earth is. Can we all put our hands together for this insightful presentation? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the privilege of hearing from one of the most esteemed and respected figures in the realm of architecture. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Bharat Mandapam, a remarkable architectural marvel that stands as a testament to the ingenuity and vision of none other than architect Sanjay Singh, director of ARCOP Associates Private Limited. Today we have the honor of gaining insights directly from him about the inspiration behind his creations and the journey of bringing soul to such wonders to life. Without further ado, let's architect Sanjay Singh.
I hope this was not left by intention. Sujata, this was yours? Okay. So, good morning to all, and thank you for this opportunity. So, I would present, how the project went through different layers and what all we went through. The initial times were very, very challenging. So we looked at looked at Delhi. This was a site which was very, very important. It was at the fringe of Lutyens, not out of Lutyens, but still, it was the boundary of Lutyens had the inspirations. So we looked at the, 7 layers, and we looked at how, we can respect what the site and where does it stand. So we looked at creating an integrated landmark. There were also historical roots to this site. So if you look at Yamuna, as per our initial studies, before 1538, this site was actually Yamuna. So we said there's a very strong connect, and can we bring that, forward? And of course, the clients, the government wanted this to be an iconic destination. It was to hold G20 convention, which would have been, our significant world. So we said it has to be an iconic destination, and started with the master plan development, of course. So the project site, and this is an image which we understood, which was pre-1530s. All right, you can see, is a part of Yamuna floodplain, and over a period of time that Yamuna Lutyens, 1920s. Understood all the layers that were there to the history, and bring in all these layers on the master plan. The access which is coming from the Lutyens, which is the Purana Kila Road and the Bhagwan Das Road. So they were intersecting on the site. We looked at the movement of the air, and then what you see primarily, on the top of the dark black. So the balance area was given to us to redevelop the entire. And then, we came about again with those layers of the Purana Kila back again, and brought the layer from the. Like I said, Yamuna was probably, I mean, the site was the floodplain of Yamuna, so we wanted to bring that element in historically. So we looked at that as an edge, and we looked at how, the site access would work. And we put all, this was happening the old way, sketching on, tracing papers and putting one layer over the other and trying to make sense of things. So we merged all of that, and with that we came about with the master plan, which we thought addressing all the, aspects of historical significance as well as the client requirements. So if you see the convention, Bharat Mandap, the number 1, is strategically placed because the road was the largest frontage getting 950 meters of this, site, which was getting a frontage. Unfortunately, while the site itself is pretty large, it's more than 120 acres, and it's a triangular site, but one of the edge is demarcated by the railways on the top, and then there are 2 roads. But Bhairomarg, actually, you are getting only 2 slots, where, one could look at the building, one could see the building, or, sort of access it. So we thought, Mathura Road is the main important artery, and let's put our, showstopper on that, and then put the exhibition halls at the back. That's the master plan across different levels. So, you can see the Bharat Mandapam. We, put it with these arms and, try to create the supporting spaces in the business center, the food and beverage, etc., and then push the main convention at the back. That's, second level. That's once the master plan was sort of frozen, we looked at how do you address the elevation views, from the ring road. And we said, whatever you do, the convention center, because exhibition halls are large animals, they're foxes, and they're high. And, how do you make sure that your the itself is visible. So we said, this is the study on a podium, on a stage, and we use that to create spaces which became resultant spaces. So the client wanted a 3,000 seater plenary hall, and lifting it created a 3,000 capacity amphitheater under it, which is very good with respect to the climate of Delhi. And then we looked at address the elevation views from Plethora Road, which were towards the India and Rajpath, or the Rajpath. I don't want to be politically wrong here. So we looked at that axis, and then we brought in the main components of the building. These are the main components. So there was an exhibition complex, a convention center, of course, services covering almost 1.7 square feet, the admin building, and the amphitheaters, etc. So these were the key components. We also the project to the metro station, which is the Pragati Madaan metro station, by elevated skyway, which takes you right from the concourse to inside the complex. So what I did was, besides giving convenience to people who were coming in here, it also took safety and security issues. People in the metro were already checked by CISF. So we didn't let them go out. We came straight into our project if somebody was coming into our project. So that was one, a good advantage of creating that. We looked at the access and circulation. So it was public transportation drop off. The green part that you see is pedestrian circulation, which is after security check, and the blue part is after security, after ticketing. Aspect that we looked at. My concern was that the way Pragati Madaan had been, for many number of years, it would the times that the enjoy the landscape instead of being ticketed. So it's very restricted. You don't need to be, you'll not be stopped. Yeah, so that's the vehicular access and circulation. The project being designed to hold the convention of G20 had its fair share of security concerns. So the various movement systems of the VVIPs were created with alternate exits in case of a problem. And that's the lower level, which is the basement. Again, one studied, when one got the project, one studied of what really this project is all about. And, it was actually a traffic mess. The time that we got the project, the India International Trade Fair was just around the corner. So we just stood on top of that pedestrian bridge and had a look at how things were building up, and people were picking people up, they were dropping people up, they were standing in the middle of the road, parking in the middle of the road, and it was a complete chaos, right? So we said, if we have to allow people to be dropped off and picked up, you have to do it at a different grade level. It's not going to happen. As many number of playbys, you just do not have the kind of driving discipline that is prevalent all across the in India. So it is better to sort of separate it. So we came up with this idea of creating a tunnel which would also connect the city. So from Rana Killa Road to the Ring Road, we created this artery which went in, literally separating our basements into two parts. We have a connection from under it, and becoming a city road. And from that, we came into the basement. And if you see, we created these two very large arrival areas. So you see one there and one the other part of the basement. The idea was that you make it so comfortable and convenient for people to get dropped off and picked up, right? And to do their ticketing and to do their security, etc., that they do not clog up the ground, right? So that's what we did, and this explains it. So if you see the lower level, that's the arrival area, which, if I tell you, is close to about 50,000 square feet. That arrival area itself is about 50,000 square feet. And you have one side where the Ubers and the Olas and the other, the top side has the buses for about 60, 70 buses. Buses can come in the number 1 titled area, which is the holding area with some F&Bs, etc. And one side you have the security. You go up and land on the non-ticketed side, and the other side you have the security and the ticketing, and this lands you up on the secured and the ground floor. That actually shows it to you how it was planned. Mention which is non-ticketed. So in terms of the built form, came up with several points and their issues, and we were not able to crack it the client, and everybody wasn't happy. So we looked at all these, and then we came up across some images which we looked at, which was the Yamuna Ganga, and we came across this very net, which was basically the Ganga and the Yamuna from the elixir, and that became the ground for the first sketch, which culminated into the design that got built so far as the convention center is concerned. So we had the building up there, and then the ramps which were emulated from the rivers, sort of flowing down, and then the entire landscape taking a cue from that. And that's what the first image of the project was, which came in. And then we also looked at how do you take inspirations from the different architectural language that is there. So we looked at Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is elevated on a podium. We took that from there, put our building on a raised podium. We also looked at the circular form. It was to do the convention of the G20. So we looked at the circular form, which embodies unity, peace, and equality. And then we took the historic concept of Baulis and the Jali patterns, etc. And that's actually the amphitheater that you see, which I spoke about, which was created as a resultant space by lifting the building up on stilts. So that became the main project, where you see the elevated podium with the landscape, the lifted form, canopy. This section, the entire function hall, which is definitely the largest space in single format in the country, but probably one of the largest in the world. About 7,500 people in a single format, divisible of course, to as small as 8 and going up to 7,500. The elevator came in under the water in Bowli, and that's the first studies that we came up with. The red color you see on the building is not sandstone. It was inspired from sandstone. We looked at a sandstone, chiseled, you give it that plastic finish, and then we emulated that in concrete. So what you see on the building is actually pigmented concrete reinforced panels. And to talk about the complete of this kind of a form, this is the the model of that building, and that's some of the facade panels going up, how the building was coming around. And was the building which got inaugurated and the summit. Like we said, the design strategy with respect to, the views was like that. The enlarged plan of the convention center itself, podiums, etc. And then, what is 18 number are actually the food and beverage outlets, which are at below the podium, and they open into courtyards. At upper level, this is actually the top level. Multi number 3 and number 4. Of course, the topic of the day is sustainability. So we brought these slides, which show you what we've done. So there are passive design features. It's a climate responsive design. We have strategically done the landscape, the waste management, reduction of construction waste, sea waste, etc., water conservation, energy conservation, and we have created these shaded walkways, which are vegetated places and also have a passive cooling. That's the PV panels which is put onto the buildings. That's about 20 to 28% of the roof area has been used for that. And then the green spaces. That's the yellow shows you the entire shaded canopy, which is open for either side, a misting system, so that during the May and June periods of the city, we can make it that much more comfortable for people to walk. And it primarily connects every building to every building. So if you may be walking in any gate, you will always be walking under it. You will never need to walk under the sun if you. Those are the water recycle and reuse strategies. And then we have the public transportation system, which I spoke about. So from gate number 2, you could walk up the metro station also, in case you so desire, in a shaded environment. That's one of the canopies, which is a combination of glass and metal, which is all the ticketing and checking happens. That's how it has been built. That's the secondary canopy. It didn't get built like this, and we changed it later on. And then as a design passive, or rather a design active approach to address the issues of energy. What we did was all the exhibition spaces, the entire 100% perimeter of it is actually lined with support spaces and access requirements. So you have staircases, you have service elevators, you have AHUs, you have organizer suites, you have storages, etc. And what that does is it gives you an insulation which is close to about 6 meters deep from the outside temperature, and your internal exhibition hall, which are the real guzzlers of air conditioning load, you can bring it down very, very substantially. And we did the same so far as the convention center is concerned. So you had the number 1 and number 2 large lobbies, which were shielding the main, air conditioned areas, 3 and 4, from the outside temperature. 5th was the entire back of the house. So, that was, it was doing that from the north side. These are those spaces. That's one of the images. And then, of course, we have the solar power and, waterless urinals and hand-free faucets, the checklist. That's done. Now, once that was done, I think, this project presentation would not be complete unless I talk about artwork. This was one of the elements which we, the first day that we put the, pencil to the paper, we said we don't want art to come in later as an add-on. We should design the building to create these spaces which are going to hold the artworks. And truly, we respected the DUSE of spending 1% on the artwork. We made sure that that happens. So, you see this is the lobby at the top. The artwork that you see is close to about 60 meters long and 8 meters high. The is India Rising, which is, showing the doves. And these are actually the edges are from Agra's marble inlay work. You have the Madhubani paintings, and you have these peacocks which are put on on a three-dimensional leaf which is edged with brass. Okay, this is again another one which was Indian textiles. Overlaid the architectural jalis from across the country, and we got fabrics from across the country, and we fused them together to create this very unique artwork. That's the flavor of the interiors. You know, peacock was one of the themes, so we tried to, you know, emulate it as much as we could in the false ceilings. You can see that in the convention plenary hall. You know, this is the G20 hall. So it was very challenging with the aspect that the clients wanted the walls to, you know, be like Latyan's areas. So there was a lot of stone usage. You can see this is, all the walls are actually 100% stone. So, you know, meeting the acoustics was a challenge. So the entire ceiling that you see is done in fabric. And, you know, of course, the floor, you know, helps you do that. That's the painting that I was talking about. These are the Solar Alliance, you know, artworks. That's another artwork in, you know, paying homage to India's role in yoga. Those are the free-flowing spaces which we spoke about. The auditorium. That's a, you know, image of that. Another one of the Solar Alliance. That's the main plenary hall. Yeah, that's again, you know, inspired from a free-flowing form. During the G20 convention, you know, they came up with these, you know, glass boxes which would hold the artifacts, not part of our architectural, you know, design. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us and taking us through the mesmerizing journey for an esteemed architect who currently holds the position of chairperson at the Delhi chapter of the Indian Green Building Council. Are widely recognized as an influential figure in the field. With a big round of applause.
Okay, okay. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Just share my journey through Shunya. One second. It's not moving. It's not moving. I think. Okay. So this is a very powerful shloka which we were brought up with, it says and means that it is not for me. It is for the well-being, prosperity of all. That's what is imbibed in us. So we as Indians, we don't do anything for ourselves. It's a selfless, their materials have very high in terms of embodied. Also, energy has an impact on the operating energy of that building. Let's say if you take a material which is glass, which has a high embodied energy, but over its life cycle, if it's able to lower down your operating energy, then the embodied energies are not the only criteria of choosing any material. But at the time when you make a building, the embodied energy is 20 times the operating energy, 20 to 30 times the operating energy of the building. And over the life cycle of that building, you mitigate that embodied energy through, because operating energy in that case becomes higher. So operating passive means, active means, choosing the right kind of lighting. But embodied energy is what we need to be very mindful of, because once it goes and settles there, that's what it is. You live with that. And then you choose materials. So what is embodied energy? It's the material, right from the extraction of the material through its process, transportation, and when it gets, actually installed in the building, to how it is finally disposed of. That entire life cycle assessment needs to be done for the embodied energy. And that the greenest are the buildings which already exist in terms of the embodied energy, because that's a building which is already built and you're reusing it in its original form, then that's the best way in terms of that. But so conservation, preservation, using old buildings is better. Using brownfield like projects and revamping would be the better way than to make newer projects. Or using materials in their original form is better. But that's, again, as I mentioned, is not the only criteria of selecting a material. You have to see whether it's durable, whether it's able to reduce your operating energy. So all these elements go into selection of your materials. And when you make a project, so we have to evaluate both, not only the operating energy. Next understanding is, for anything to be sustainable, it has to balance the social environment and the economics. When we look at buildings, they're eventually made for people. So their well-being becomes equally important as an environment is important. So choosing materials, choosing design, which work on for the wellness or welfare of the occupants is as important as the environment. Next understanding was that our architecture in the past, we have a very rich heritage, and these sustain balance social environment, but all the aspects. And the third understanding is that nature is very powerful building tool. There's so much to learn from nature. Everything which is simple can be made poetic. It uplifts one's spirit. It helps us to feel better. There's so much interconnectedness within nature, which derives that beauty. People gravitate towards nature. So when we build, we have to ensure that those urban landscapes, environment is taken care of, and it's very well integrated for improving our quality of life. So, and there are a lot of things which nature can do. Like in our projects, we've able to reduce our water usage, our rainwater disposal, all through nature. And that also helps in economics and gives beautiful spaces which people can actually enjoy. So the main thing is that interconnectedness is extremely important. This is one of the projects which we did in 2008-9, which is, there were these 3 buildings which are oriented north-south, and the ground floor is actually a social realm where these are stilted buildings, and we have the entrances from the landscape side. So the courtyard is where the main entrance is. People cannot just get off the car and go in. They experience the landscape before they come into the buildings. And we have water body around the wind direction. So this place is very cool.
during the day. So you see actually, like, you'll find people sitting around, chit-chatting. They come earlier to the offices because they feel much relaxed when they sit in nature before they go up into the offices. This building was done in a very low budget, and it achieved LEED Platinum at that time. So that's the building section where the building footprint is such that it's able to capture natural light. The buildings are able to shade each other. So through passive means, we were able to reduce the energy consumption of the building to maximum that most efficient that we could do. And we also have pre-cooling of fresh air in fair weather season. We also use cooling, like 3 months there's no chillers which actually run, and you're just pumping in fresh air from outside. And that's that area. All the landscape was done out of waste materials. The glazing is a high embodied material, but we actually took the paints to ensure that the wastages were down to 1%, whatever we were using, and all the wastages were used within the project itself. So these are the computer simulation model. Tanmay was part of this project, and this project actually we were able to have 800 square feet area air conditioned by just 1 ton of air conditioning through active and passive means. These are pictures of almost 20% energy reduction over 5 compared to standard Indian buildings. This is another project where the client wanted glare-free light. Totally, he said that, even if you give glazing, people put blinds. So you give me a building which will have zero glare. So you see the shading devices around this. This building is designed around 2 courtyards, and there is a water body and there are jalis. Through century effect, this courtyard remains cool, and the building footprint is such that it's able to capture natural light from both directions. So the reliability on the artificial light goes down. So these are the simulation models which helped us to determine that, and all the daylight perimeter lights are linked with the daylight sensors. We again use passive and active means to lower the energy consumption of projects. Like every project that we were doing, we were trying to reduce the energy consumption. And of course, we looked at social aspect, we looked at all of that. We got nature into our buildings. We ensured that people were in touch with nature. They had beautiful views outside. They could sit outside. They could interact outside. All that was done. We were working with all of those aspects, but we realized there was more that needed to be done. Our footprint had to be lower. Our energy consumption had to be lower. Then this is another project where this was an existing building which we renovated. There was a lot of glass. 60% of the facade was actually glass, but the daylight inside was very limited. They had beautiful garden outside, but nobody could use it because there were actually no doors to come out even. So what we did was, again, there's an issue here. So what we did was that we got the cafeteria and all the public spaces on the ground floor, and we opened them up. These are the atriums which had too much glare, but actually no one could even enjoy them. The intent was to create a collaborative environment and at the same time make a building which was environment friendly. So the landscape that you see, we got the cafeteria which is on the right side, and then we opened all the windows, glazings there, so people could sit outside, inside, and actually there are a lot of events which do happen outside now. We made the central room, which is the central atrium. We made all these breakout spaces around it. So they have a lot of this transient population also. So many people actually don't get into the private spaces. They just use these central spaces. And then we did facade studies to ensure that there was complete glare-free light inside. You had a lot of light, but you had no glare. And again, so all those studies were done. We gave breakout spaces around the perimeter. And that's how the building then looks like. It's heavily shaded by trees, by landscaping, as well as the fence that you see. This image is, Rotunda area, the central area, which is the reception, which has got a jali towards the west side. The western facade is completely shaded, and you do have some glazings, but that's also shaded. All these trees were retained in this building. That's the atrium, and see the quality of light which comes in, totally glare-free light. And people enjoy sitting there. It's a lovely space to actually be there. Then this is another campus we did, where it kind of, the building slopes down, and then there was an irrigation canal which we're using the water for recreation purposes. All the recreation areas are towards this, towards the basement, lower ground actually, which opens out into this land zone, and we ensured that, so there the wind direction was east-west, so we have punches in the building towards east-west, and we ensure that all the public spaces and the places where people could actually sit are nicely shaded. So these were the shadow diagrams that were done and the wind studies that was done. And then this is the east-west direction where the wind actually gets cool before it kind of comes in. And then there are a lot of these spaces which are nicely shaded, could be enjoyed. And so that's the screen on the north side itself, because the sun angles were very high in Hyderabad even during the north. So all these projects, we were, these were high energy efficient buildings, but we wanted to get to net zero. We wanted to see what's better that we could do. For that, we realized that, if you just take these high energy efficient buildings where 800, 900 square feet, we were using 1 ton of air conditioning against 200 square feet where you use 1 ton of air conditioning, it was still requiring a lot of investment in terms of solar energy. So the best way to do was to lower the energy efficiency of the building even further, and then meet it through the solar panels. So as an experiment, we did this project called Shunya, which is made out of waste. So this not only talks about zero energy, it talks about zero water, zero waste, and zero energy, of course. We took 4 waste containers, put it across a courtyard. So there's a courtyard in between, which has more glazing, and all the external windows are very small, especially on the south side. The east and west, 2 containers kind of jut out and create verandas. So taking our actual model of how our Chandni Chowk house or any other house with a courtyard would be, so we made this house, and that's how it is. It's all in open around the courtyard. So the first entrance courtyard lobby is towards the south side, and the rooms actually face the north side. So we insulated the container, and then we put solar panels on top. We had a vegetation garden on top again, because that would help in insulation. So, and then we went through step-by-step method to reduce the energy consumption. Initial electrical load was 8,560 kilowatt hour, which, and the carbon emissions were 7.6 tons. And with every step, through the right orientation, through the right roof insulation, wall insulation, window assembly, and balancing the window wall ratio, as well as ensuring that we had natural light throughout and we had daylight sensors, we were able to bring down the energy consumption step by step through shading devices, through the courtyard, through having water feature in the courtyard, shading the courtyard, having plantation to shade the south side. You can see there's a tree on the right side. All of this and natural ventilation, we were actually able to save a lot of energy using equipments which were B 5-star rated. We were actually able to reduce the energy, and the little energy that this house did need was through these solar panels. And actually it was put up for an exhibition, then a developer adopted it, and he made a family stay there for a year to actually see that is it even a successful model, so that they could adopt it for their future projects. So, and it did. We had 3 kilowatt system which was running the entire house, no electricity taken from the grid. But more than that, it was not only zero energy, it was zero waste, zero water. We had a full recycling of food waste into manure and using solar cookers to cook your own food. Then zero water, not a single drop of water was going out of this site. We had kitchen gardens, we had all of that, and flora, fauna, all of it, to say that any of us and each of us can stay sustainably with the minimum footprint on this planet. Complete furniture that you see, doors, everything is from Kabadi Bazaar, like it's all recycled. We have elaborate energy metering to tell you every equipment, every space, how much energy it is taking, so you can take corrective actions wherever required. And then, so these are a few more pictures of this project. And now we are making this office, which is, in fact, this is in advanced stages. This is an office in Calcutta by a solar manufacturer. So he does solar panels, and this project is on a very tight site, and then it faces a beautiful marshlands. So we're using the concept of borrowed landscape because so we're speaking to the government that we don't want to have a boundary wall as such, and we redevelop that area a little bit so that people can enjoy that space. So here, if you see on the south side, we have all the cabins, so they get light, and on the north side, we have all the workstations to get better light there. Every square feet of this space, every square inch of the space is through solar panels. So the energy required, these are various, I'll just end this here. So we calculated what is the bare minimum energy required for this project. We lowered that, and then whatever was required was supplied through the solar panels. I'd like to end by saying that it's very much possible, no rocket science, simple things we all can do to make our country, our world, zero water, zero waste, and zero energy. A net positive India, Shunya, for the welfare, well-being, and prosperity of all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Architect Rakheja, for taking us through the concept of Shunya in architectural context. It was an insightful presentation. Before we move on, I request all the speakers kindly adhere to the prescribed time limit so that we can complete all our sessions in time. So moving on, let's delve into an important topic regarding ECBC, Energy Conservation Building Code. Please welcome to the stage Architect Deependra Prasad, Principal and Planner at DPAP Studio. Architect Prasad is the creative force behind the groundbreaking super ECBC building in India, UHBVN head office. Let's give him a warm welcome as he shares his insights with us. Architect Deependra Prasad.
Hello everyone. Thank you for this opportunity for sharing this project. I'll get to it right away. We are a practice based in Delhi, and besides our own practice, we also do a lot of training in this area, in the area of sustainable building. This is one project in Panchkula for the electricity distribution company of Panchkula, which I'm going to be talking about. It's got recently completed, and the context is really as follows. I mean, so we live, we are all here in the NCR. So all of you know how the NCR is and how we've been living and, suffering in this particular weather, climate, and in the whole gamut of carbon emissions, pollution, and so on one side, we have this kind of environment. On the other side, we have, you've already seen, my esteemed colleagues have shown a large number of very interesting and green projects, and I'm going to show you one more. So, how do these individual buildings really make a difference to the overall city? And that's what we wonder about. Are these individual islands, or will they make a difference to the overall area? Now, in that, I think one of the most important initiatives has been the codes which have been developed in India, and the government of India has given to. So, the Conservation Building Code originally came out in 2000, got revised in 2017, and is being revised again to further update the new developments in the profession. And in ECBC 2017, they had 3 levels to talk about the levels of efficiency that the building is touching. So one is ECBC, the second one is ECBC plus, and the third is Super ECBC. So this is the first building, large-scale project, which has come out, which has touched the Super ECBC level. And after this, the government now has given actually each state 5 crores of rupees to upgrade or develop any project as an ECBC project, and they are quite bullish, so as to say, on this particular idea. The project here that I'm talking about was developed in Panchkula. Now, Panchkula is quite different from here. It's a much cleaner, place. You'd see the sun and, less pollution. And, but it does have an extreme summer and winter. So basically this was the site. It's not a large project. It's a 2 lakh square feet project. And if the pointer works, it doesn't, it's okay. Basically, the building is, the orientation of the site itself is not really north-south. It is angled. So as you can see, the building, in the building itself, we created these 2 angles here. To make it face north-south. Then, if you see the diagram on the right-hand side, you will see the stepping. The stepping is actually towards the eastern side. So, again, that's an issue in all taller buildings or comparatively tall buildings. This is not really very tall. It's about G+6. But in that area, that is what is generally allowed. In tall office buildings, people don't really have a space to go out to. And, sometimes you really don't want to go outside, especially in Delhi, you don't want to go outside. So here we created these terraces as go-to spaces on every floor. On the upper floors, you can also see a view of the mountains. This is Panchkula, so not very far away. These happened during COVID. So at that time, their entire outlook changed because all the recommendations were targeting getting natural or fresh air basically into the building. So here, because of the open windows, we are able to get that. Secondly, together with the open windows and the cutouts, we are able to generate some passive cross ventilation in good weather times, basically. G+6 stories, and it has 3 basements below. You can see. Within the building, of course, one has tried to keep an open office plan with possibilities of light being shared with the largest number of people. The partitions which are facing the openings are primarily glass, but the open office plan is basically low height partitions. So this was basically the analysis which was carried out by Hareda for it to reach the target of Super ECBC, where first the aspect of daylighting was seen, and the was actually calculated on each floor, and in this particular case we reached the Super ECBC level. So this was a combination of artificial lighting and lighting together with in this particular, in the picture on the left, even though you have a conference room, and normally you create a conference room where you cut out all the natural light because you're creating your own interiors, you have a screen, but the screens now are not projector screens anymore. So therefore, we were able to actually create a set of windows all around with roller blinds where you can really cut out and get the thing in and get the roller blinds on when you don't want the natural light. So that's really the plan, and that's how it's receding on the eastern side. Further, and there it goes. That's the last floor. So the building itself was highly insulated again as per Super ECBC standards. What we used over here was basically a EPS core. It's a compact thermocol core, or high density thermocol core, as you can see over here. with these panels, basically, 3 feet by 10 feet or 12 feet high panels, which get set up very, very quickly, and then you can shotcrete on them. So basically, you get a 8-inch thick wall section, which is highly insulated. And we created it like that on the over the RCC, so that the RCC itself would also be protected. Otherwise, when you're trying to insulate a building, the RCC becomes a thermal bridge. So again, more ECBC values. I won't go into details, but basically from the baseline, we were reducing 47.4%, and then thus calculating the carbon savings as well. And here there was a high efficiency chiller. We had demand control ventilation over here, a BMS system, pre-cooling economizers. It is already pre-cooled by the outgoing air. We had operable windows, as I told, and because this one during COVID times, so they were very much concerned about the infection control in the interiors. So this building, we also utilized UVGI systems where there was disinfection of the air which was actually going in and coming out. We also use filters, fine filters, to make sure that the kind of air quality maintained is impeccable. So this is a video. Can you run the video? Click a small video. Talks about the concept. Next, please. नहीं, फिर से चल गया. Go to the next slide. Escape कीजिए. All right. So these were ECBC 2007 parameters. Like in air conditioning, you would cool almost 150 square feet with a ton, and now it's being surpassed. Pretty much the lighting power density, the electrical load, all these standards are being surpassed, and new standards being made. So in this particular case, so the broad kind of last point which I want to make is that when we are talking about making a green building, you're talking about making a building better than the standard building out there. When you're talking about making a greener building, then you can also go to something like a net zero. This particular project which we were part of, this is called Indra Paryavaran Bhavan, Building of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, which was a net zero project. This is another project for the RBI which we've been doing. Now, in these both projects, the ones on the left-hand side, we primarily did part solar. So it was basically taking care of about 10%, 12% of the energy being consumed. But for the one on the right-hand side, Indra Paryavaran Bhavan, this was taking care of the entire energy consumption. It was a net zero. So the net zero itself is not a very important concept, but beyond that, we have to look at how a project can target carbon neutrality. That is, in fact, balancing out the energy which goes into the making of the building. And that's where, going beyond net zero is important. And I'd like to take a minute in talking about one a particular concept which we are very much aware of and becomes the most important aspect of the building, which is the building envelope. So taking that as an example, in this particular building, the first one, we had basically this EPS core, yeah? So it had lesser embodied energy. Now in this particular case, the second building, we had a Fagi ball. which is basically a fly ash lime gypsum block, which is made with waste material, fly ash, which has the minimum embodied energy. Then the third one, basically, we had a high efficiency envelope with AC walls together with rock wool, which again has lesser embodied energy. But broadly, what I'm trying to say is that when you're taking the envelope, that takes up a major part of your embedded energy. And in that, you can do it in various ways. So, for example, in this particular project, the Indra Paryavaran Bhavan, we did reach that same value of R with a AC wall. Now, the same thing, if you don't have AC, could be done in a rural area by making a 1 feet mud wall, another 1 feet mud wall, and also a gap in the middle. You can do the same thing. Or in the city, you can do a half-inch brick wall, and then you can have insulation in the center. So the same value can be reached in various ways, and it's a question of the context which is important. We have created this particular booklet, which has been released under the aegis of the CPWD and the Ministry of Urban Development, where various materials of the schedule of rates have been utilized to see how the values that ECBC demands and which a green building demands can be reached comfortably. Based on this, we have carried out a large number of trainings as well. And this is my final slide. So what we have really in the built environment is really two kinds of buildings. You know, the one on the left and one on the right. So if you see the one on the left, this is a building example that I've taken from Oberoi. And here, if we see the value on x-axis, that is the time span of the building. When we start, that is when the building has been constructed. And the blue line is basically the embedded energy of the building. So the embedded energy starts with a certain value, which is above 2000 megajoules per meter square of the building. And it goes up slightly because you're also doing maintenance, maybe adding material, replacing material, carrying out repairs, etc. But the red line is basically the operational energy. Now, this is a building which could represent, let's say, a local office, a primary health center, you know, a school, you know, having a small footprint, low embodied energy materials, some passive cooling, little or maybe no insulation, maybe a cavity, hardly any glass. So for these kind of buildings, basically, if we have renewable energy being utilized, then you can actually target carbon neutrality very fast, because the overall embedded energy itself is quite low. On the right hand side is the other kind of projects. It's like a Gurgaon building, office building, tall, you know, building, modern, air conditioned, with higher embodied energy materials. Now here we see that the embedded energy might be slightly higher. So this is touching almost 4,000. Yeah, and again maintained over there. But look at the embedded energy. The embedded energy zooms up fast. So it crosses the energy into and then zooming up. So that's where you know, high grade insulations, high insulation, take care. So in this particular case, on the right hand side, joining the approaches of the embedded energy and the operational energy gives us amazing benefits in terms of mitigating carbon. Thank you so much.
I'm honored to have among us architect Sonali Rastogi. India now proudly holds the title of hosting the largest office building globally. This accolade is attributed to the pioneer work of the Smartex team led by architect Sonali Rastogi, the founding partner of the firm. Architect Rastogi will enlighten us on the large-scale commercial development of Surat Diamond Course and delve into the
colleagues, professors, So leave alone being the world's largest office building, it has conditions in which it was built. It also had a unique client committee. So there wasn't one 450 diamond merchants. Usually we have one client or one project manager or one such thing. So the committee was divided into groups of 10 to 12 people, one responsible for design, one responsible for sustainability, so decisions, sustainability decisions, one was for procurement decisions, and so was for, so we had many committees that we were responding to. What incredible was that it pretty much got built, I would say 95% as the competition winning entry was. So which for any architect is a real privilege. And another fact I want to share with you that about 2 weeks ago at a conference I realized that the projections currently for what India will be building in the next 10 years, so there are many projections. One says as the entire built up volume of US, one says this, one says that. But essentially I did a calculation that 142 such buildings would be the total amount of built up area that we are building in the next 10 years. And the reason I mention it, because when I hear figures in millions, billions and all, it doesn't connect very well. But then when I think that one office could build this building quite easily, so therefore 142 such buildings for the entire architectural community is not such a big deal. And we can do it in a sustainable way. This is sustainable, which I'll show you, but it's only the start, like much more sustainable way. We can all do this as a community over the next 10 years. So this building is located in Surat. It's, some of you may know, there's like this gift city outside Ahmedabad, this dream city outside Surat, which had no takers. So this building acted as a seed building because given its size and the number of people who will, 90% of all diamonds in the world will pass through this building. Has already got other buildings now that have got started, hospitals and colonies and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a seed building for giving life to this Dream City project. So you can see Surat in the back. And I mean, I don't know if it was intended or not, but this picture made me think that the building has an open arm gesture towards the city. So this is the condition in which most of these traders worked before, and they got together and petitioned for a piece of land because they wanted to work in a grade A building, and these were this is a building owned by a cooperative. So they petitioned for a building, then they sold the entire buildings to themselves, collected the entire funding, and hence the project started, hence its ability to build absolutely uninterrupted. So it's in that sense, it's a building by the community and for the community. So when the competition launched, all this was already done. Okay, 7 million square feet with high security, 60,000 people who are getting into their office in less than 7 minutes. So they cost 15 minutes is the time period in which all workers arrive, but it is 7 minutes as now. We realized that, and because the building is pretty old, they already had a budget, and to make a building with interiors in that budget was going to be possible. Like no amount of value engineering could have got us there. So I'll share a little bit how it happened, because we haven't, despite COVID, despite everything, there's not been 1 rupee cost overrun. So environmental sustainability would only lead to our competition approach. So we started in reverse. So today Sanjay has shared a methodology that all of us architects use, which is taking contextual clues. This was pretty contextless area. So or I won't say contextless, that's a little bit mean, but yes, there weren't so many clues. But what we figured was that let's start with numbers instead. So we started with numbers so the client was clear how much money they had. And we said that even if we try to do equal, which is what their intention was, will never meet. And now we do it for as many projects as we can. Then there were other metrics. People will get through how much time from one place to the other, because one is enter a complex and take, that's a lot of waste of energy. So there were a lot of other times a day when you want to meet another trader, how efficient here, but can be any vertebra, really is the easiest and most efficient way of distributing resources. The same simple model was used, was the public space. That's where everybody moves, which means all your vertical transportation, staircases, all public utilities, amenities, everything, which looks quite so this is the main traffic movement that could happen, and as you can see, all of it leads to just the central spine. And travel time, of course, it was simulated, is less than 7 minutes for anyone to get from an end. Simple passive strategies that I don't need to speak to this audience about, they're all well aware, but it was important that the because when we did the study in Mumbai, hardly parks actually under trees. You get one client says, I need this, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to go get it for you, make a few calls, get it from somebody on the road, and go exchange diamonds. So a lot of deals happen outside. A lot of people who actually are not business. So at least half the courtyards are shaded. Very simple, because we of this urban spine as an urban space, so those parks and trees and garden benches, they meet incorporated, obviously, in order for it to feel like a space, and there is no air conditioning, it's naturally ventilated. So using simple stack effect, and then the shaping led to venturi effect to escalate the amount of wind, just to make the space comfortable. So 100% of the circulation, which in a building of this scale is about 45%, I think, if I remember correctly. So all of that is naturally ventilated. So these are some of the sections showing the internal gardens where people hang around and meet and do trading. And these are the green, shows the courtyards, which is all on the ground floor level. All the amenities are also on the ground floor level. So the dibba walas also come and deposit dibbas on, because food will still come from home, and that was a obvious understanding, knowing Gujaratis. And there were other amenities which are all on the ground floor, so that doing informal business is possible on the courtyards. So this is a typical plan. Different sizes of offices varying from 300 square feet approximately to 50,000 square feet. Okay, the building sections designed in such a way that we get the 45-degree angle shading for in at least 4 courtyards. So the microclimate strategy reduced the ambient temperature by 5 to 7 degrees, and radiant cooling was used to do this. So this entire space that you see in the red spine, the whole space is radiant cooled. Now on the ground floor I was talking to you, it has medical centers, travel desk, creche. So they also have their own customs facilities, security, couriering of diamonds, all of that it goes on in the ground floor. Then they have basic shopping, not like shopping for outsiders to come, but for their own needs. Banks, ATMs and money transfer facilities. Then there's 10,000 meters square of food zone and pop-up cafes, al fresco dining, and also now Dibbawala. And then there are of course other attached facilities for visiting buyers, which are health club, gym, conference, banqueting, so on and so forth. So this is pictures of the almost finished building, maybe like a month or two before. And so this talks about the entire solar shading, which I've already spoken about, the green lungs in the spine, and courtyards will take as many daily visitors, somewhat like a bazaar, inspired by how they already work. So these are some of those gardens getting planted. As I said, these pictures were about 2 months before finishing. This is a radiant cooling system which is getting put into place. So we'd been introduced to this radiant cooling system when we were working for Infosys about 10 years ago. And they were trying to indigenize it, but it was still an imported system where, of course, it's a sustainable solution. But in the cost that we had to finish this building, 4,200 rupees per square foot, all told, finished, complete, ready to move in. It was not going to be possible to have that system. So this was indigenous system designed together with the engineering consultants. What looked in the pictures like windows actually are none of them are windows. So they are just fenestrations, of course inspired by our jalis, as most of us do in most of our buildings. And so when people are moving in that urban spine, there's actually through and through cross ventilation right through. So all the holes are actually holes, they're not windows. I know because of like the reflection or the sky through or something, it sometimes looks like there's glass, but there's no glass anyway. So in terms of client brief, whether it's small or big committee member who owns that office, they all had 1 vote each. So therefore, it's a level playing field. Offices had to be modular so that if somebody's business grows, they can expand, and so on and so forth. In fact, offices were assigned by a lottery system, okay? Because really, there's so much to learn with their ability to self-organize, and this was part of it. So this was the problem that they set out to alleviate in making this project. So most of them who are workers and are not business owners, they would wake up at 4, get to Surat station at 5:30, get to work at 9:30, do whatever work, dibbas carried from home all the way, and get back at the Mumbai station at 6:30 to reach home by 10:30, 11, and then start next morning at 4 again. And most of them who we interviewed during the case studies didn't actually even see their families more than once a week. So this was a problem a community set out to alleviate. These were the working conditions that they worked in. And outdoor informal transactions and food was a very important component of the culture. So I think, I mean, we never got the jury comments, it was an international jury, but I think the fact that full attempt to make them corporatized was not there in our scheme. I think the absence of that was maybe one of the winning solutions. So this is the project during COVID, and why this slide is very important to me. They shut down in lockdown 1. Just as it opened, they built this colony on the left. Whilst rest of the country was seeing migrants who had to walk home for 20 days, 30 days, we all know the story, right? This site invited everyone back, full accommodation, COVID hospital, and food for everyone, including myself when I went to site, where I had to quarantine for 2 days and then be there for 1 week. That was a minimum requirement. And everyone had to eat from the same kitchen. And if you got COVID, you were treated there as well. Doctors were in-house, nurses were in-house. So this is an incredible ability. I don't know anywhere in the world for a client to self-organize because they had a dream. And I think the whole project was delayed in total with COVID and everything for 5 months from their final deadline. So this is meetings during COVID. So by the way, construction, what I learned here, construction labor with the level of security provided or whether it is ignorance. But they didn't believe in masking up. Okay. So, but there was a huge amount of security, like a sense of ki, like, theek hai, 2 saal bhi rahenge to rahenge, right? So this is project during construction. Site visits, ministers, everything is going on. Like it didn't stop. Maybe it also, I feel that it had the advantage of being isolated. There wasn't anything else, right? There was only this in Dream City. This is a normal COVID day. So the things that further changed during the course of the project, like we were going to use a red granite from South India, ruby red. But at that time, they said, look, state boundaries shut whenever. Transport will become difficult. Try to do everything from Gujarat. So this stone, and even the quarry people were surprised because it's usually not, it's not so commonly used. This is a stone called Lakha red. So which replaced our ruby red, and it's found in Gujarat and Rajasthan. So a lot of things, like simple things like tiles. Okay, so we went to Morbi and all masked up with some committee members, and they said, okay, whatever tile you want in your design, you choose. And rather, stone was replaced with tile, and they said, now that's going to be, you choose what you want, and one of these factories will buy, and then we will get it produced. So a lot of the stone was replaced, all the interior stone other than the main lobbies was replaced with Morbi tiles. So like I'd never used locally made tiles before. So a lot of things we learned and really had to go local due to the conditions, and now it's become a way. Now that's how we work. So project starts to get lit up. So, and of course, there are nuances carrying over from the same holes, which are now more ornamental. So this image is hiding the fire stair. This is very interesting. Surat got crazy cyclonic winds, which were double the speed that ever experienced before during the course of this project. And these tall walls, 14-floor high walls, swayed a lot. And then everyone had a heart attack. And then the structural engineers sent it for some simulations, and it came back with that this crazy column is expected to stand in the middle of the 14-floor high reception. So what to do now? One column is going to appear in a column-free, very well worked out structure. And then the column appeared, and then based on Surat's maritime history, because it's very near a port called Chaurasia Port, which means God knows how many hundreds of years ago, 84 countries used to trade via this area. So then the entire reception was redesigned with a maritime look, and this is a water droplet. This also, it's not like an artist or anything, because no artist would come in COVID and sit here and do this. So the site contractor was given some drawings, and then and actually an ex-morphogenesis architect who does product design kind of worked with us and designed this and these kind of things. So these are interesting stories for us, that how improvisation happened in difficult times. More pictures of the hold areas. So this image I really like, because this is one of the reception waitings, and when you make something of this scale, like any kind of furniture just looks like not right. So this is the furniture, this is the scale of furniture that was manufactured on, this is manufactured on site. So this is the other end of the lobby with more furniture. This is the project lit up on Diwali. The reason I keep these below, because this is all during construction. And just the idea that how the community is construction reports and images which were coming out whilst the rest of the world was at a standstill.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your thought-provoking ideas and innovative solutions with us. Diamond Course is indeed an achievement. Now, today to have among us Mandapam. Please put your hands together. Bharat Mandapam is the outcome of his profound vision. Can you have the awards? On your achievements, sir. You are an inspiration to the generations of architects.
Yeah, thank you very much for this recognition. Thank you, everybody.
We are privileged to have such figures in the world of architecture today here at Smartex 20. Enlighten us on the vast possibilities and opportunities to combat the climate challenge. Let's welcome her insights on this crucial topic. Everybody put your hands together for architect Chitra Vishwanath.
Thank you. Is this visible here? Is it? So thank you, Smartex, and also I must thank Komal, who was in touch with me. I think we should always thank these youngsters who do a great job. And thank you for the question, the word improvement itself. Because the rider is for whom is it improved. So I hope this is provocative enough, and I just want to get a lot more, what you would call it, goals. This is, what we see, this improvement is a very short time gain. It's probably in the last 30 years we have gained this. And it's for a privileged few, like the company I'm keeping now, and it's not cynicism or it's not directed at the company itself. I'm very happy with these friends.
But it's a dilemma for a large community, large part of the humanity now, and a larger one for the ones who are coming in the future. I'm always worried about what my granddaughter will receive of what we or I end up using. My presentation is a work in progress, influenced by the current scenario, our profession, readings from various writers and things. What is this open for? No, I don't see the presentation. No, I don't see the presentation on this. Okay, so I'll have to keep looking here. Yeah, I could. You know, I'd ask for a presentation more because you have some things written. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. Then you can close it, please. Yeah.
I'm sorry for the.
No. Can I go back? Oh. So I was given this topic as Earth, and because Biome has been working with Earth from a long time, I would also say it's been kind of a pioneer. Earth is passive, it's over, or calling it something new, it's over, especially in our country. We must be having more than 500 practices which have been using Earth. So, Sujata, there is a huge scale difference happening. About a month or month and a half back, met Sanjay Puri, who's using Earth blocks. So, different scales of offices. I wish more scales of offices, and would call it the local and the real material to be used, and it should be used most proudly in India, rather than the kind of materials we are using and calling it proud and being Indian. So that is cynicism for you. So I'm really happy about that, and lots of designs which are coming up. So this is what we have done, about 1,000 projects, most of them in Bangalore. We're very lucky that we were in Bangalore. It's a lovely city. 30 years back the practice started. It's a city with open mind, where we could build with Earth, because Baker's legacy, all that, and really small projects, sometimes as small as a classroom, and very did. Those are projects happening in terms of our future, which is what the climate change or the topic, the overarching topic. So here I'm not going into any projects, and we just see what the boundaries. The Stockholm Environmental Institute has worked on it. In 2009, it was only looking at 7 boundaries, and 3 were crossed. 2004, 2023, 9 boundaries, they've expanded boundaries, but 6 crossed. And where do we fall into in terms of these boundaries? It's at the novel entities space. Novel entity space is where humans created environment. And this has been very interesting input I got from an exhibition I saw in Helsinki, where this is an artist, Jenny Nordberg, who says that per person, 16 lakh 500, I don't even, kilos of goods would be transported per person. But that's not per person, that's not the driver who brought us uses. It's just very few, but it gets spread per person. So imagine some of us are using probably 10 times this kilograms of goods which were transported just for 1 kilometer. This is your provocation, Tanmay. But as architects, how do we address the novel entities? And where do we fit in? So we fit in into the aspiration category, we fit into the environment. climate change, what is it leading to? It's the heat. This is what we will encounter in Asia and especially South Asia. When Plethora has shown us the way forward of insulation is needed so that to reduce operation energy. So that's for what's happening inside. But a lot of people, because of the way our buildings are not able to do their work for simple, decent life, for wages itself, and the overshoot of biosphere. What is overshoot of biosphere would be the way we live on the plains, and then we have brown snow, black snow on our hills. And then we have also heard how Gulmarg didn't even have snow on its ski slopes now. It's all very recent, and it's all our novel entities creating these issues of shoot. So can a building really address? And we have seen lots of examples. Really happy to see these examples, and that it brings in a smorgasbord of choices. And yes, everybody has their philosophical construct too, folded within the design, but it's very nice to see that in India we are developing these large choices. And most importantly, I feel that it is here that India will be a pioneer, than going back to some cultural, mythological past. But in India, through its introduction, through its challenges, which it's facing through the climate crisis, and it has to address this new kinds of solution, whether it is like Sonali's just looking at how much time you take to travel, to insulation, to thinking of cities, walkable cities, etc., different things, is where India could show the world what should be the ideal future. So, and that is the systems change, is that you have to, at this moment of time in India, have to be global. You have to really not go back to the past and glorify the past, that, oh, we made this wonderful temples and they were just great and that is what is the future like. We should imitate temples in our new buildings. Or, we made this lovely bungas and earth buildings and that's how the future would be. It is a combination of science, it's a combination of learning from past, but we have to learn from the future. And we have to act for the future. And that is what we have to build if we have to have a future on this planet, and especially India. Just a year back, there was this newspaper article which said, by 2037, Indians will be buying an air conditioner every 15 seconds. And it was shown as an opportunity for business. It's very interesting. We went back and studied the kind of HVAC solutions which are coming up, the kind of small ACs which are coming up. 10 years back, ACs wouldn't run on inverters. Now you have ACs which run on inverter. So the business is always improvising. It knows about climate change. It knows about what will be needed. Are we architects keeping pace with it? I think we are keeping pace if we are learning for the future. So yes, it was all told, and I think Dipender's work showed much more than what I could do. So there's low embodied energy required, low operation energy, but it's no waste stream. Not no waste stream. You have to have absolutely zero waste in the buildings and embrace biodiversity, without which there's no future. So every part of the design should have permaculture of solution. It should not be merely a space to reside or work, but it has to do much more. And much more are that we have to make our buildings cooler. In India, we have to make, if we have to have a future on this planet, the buildings have to provide for cleaner air, and buildings have to be waste sink. They take in the waste rather than create waste, because there is a proverb which says every new building is a waste of future. So possible materials could be earth, the debris, and now the various kind of resins which are coming up, various ways to bind. But market is going to expect that they have to be easily available, and that's what I would like really the magazines like Smartex should bring forward, but also put in the cost consciousness in terms of the ecological cost of the materials which are there in these magazines, and inform all stakeholders about it. So we use earth, but while using earth, sourcing earth is from the basement, so it's 22 degrees centigrade throughout the year, and different parts of the house is used at different times. Okay, and yeah, so earth could be used really beautifully. And this is shading with waste. Indian Railways louvers found at the Kabadiwala in Bhopal and used as screens. And whether the building itself can be a quarry for the future. So it's a small project where every element of the building was studied and how it can be taken apart in future and reused either as the whole building or also as different elements. So then there's where Biome went beyond using just earth for construction. Steel, paper, flooring with paver blocks. It's GI sheet with bamboo. And as architects, we also need to know construction. And it's not merely architects, it's also the engineers have to know construction, how to convey it at the site, and if possible, to convey it in non-English terms. So this is a project we're doing in Madhya Pradesh where we are writing everything in Hindi, and we know how a village names its tiles, and it could be different, but the drawings are done that way so that this is what Sujata go to scale. But a scale of a kind which is more people oriented than merely project oriented. So we have to in India make it that it's possible that we have skills which are transmitted to all, and through skill employment generated for life. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful presentation. I would want you to stay back on stage because we are delighted, we are privileged to give away the Smartex Lifetime Achievement Award to architect Chitra Vishwanath. I request Mr. Rajkumar Singh, Mr. Sukesh Singh and Mr. Sandeep Lathwal to kindly come on stage and give away this prestigious award to architect Vishwanath. So, Mr. Sukesh Singh, Mr. Sandeep Latwal has come up on stage, and we are honored to give away the Smartex Lifetime Achievement Award to architect Chitra Vishwanath. Everybody, please put your hands together. Thank you, ma'am. We celebrate your dedication to advancing sustainability in architecture and sharing your knowledge with us. Congratulations on this achievement. We are thoroughly inspired by you. So we give away the Smartex Lifetime Achievement Award to architect Chitra Vishwanath. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am, can you say a few words?
Thank you. I think the shawl is lovely. And thank you for this opportunity. I think this is curated very well. And it has a great energy where I think it will lead to a lot of discussions, and we should have more of such meets for all of us. Yeah.
Several competition awards to be given. I request architect Samiran Banik to come and declare the winners of the architecture for climate change. Architect Samiran Banik on stage. Please put your hands together. Welcome him on stage.
Sandeep Tandon, an award. Where is the award? Oh,
Can we get the awards on stage, please?
okay, Sandeep and Rashmi is the main designer. Rashmi. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Where is the award? And climate change is the third position, architect Ashit B. Gupta. Ashit B. Gupta. Please come on stage. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Architect Banik, for doing the honor, and congratulations to all the winners in this category, architecture, for Climate Challenge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, we are privileged to give away Smartex Prime Award for the Best Project of the Year 2023 to Sonali Rastogi. So I request Architect Sonali Rastogi to kindly come on stage, and to do the honor, may I invite Mr. Pankaj Sethi, CEO Kajaria Ceramics Limited, on stage. So here we present the Smartex Prime Award to Architect Sonali Rastogi for Surat Diamond Bourse. Congratulations on your achievement, ma'am. Big congratulations on your achievement, and may I request you to say a few words?
No, I'm just thankful to receive this because this particular one, I always feel I receive not just on part of Team Morphogenesis, but also Team Surat Diamond Bourse, the client, because the project is in some ways more theirs, even in conception and through construction, than it was mine, because otherwise I normally always say, till I don't hand over, this project belongs to me. But in this one, I think they played a very important role. So I always receive it in spirit for both of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Congratulations. Smartex is indeed honored to have achievers like you. Now, the next part of the session has 3 technical presentations. It's time to learn on the innovation taking place in the building industry and how the manufacturers are trying to cope up with the changing mood of the market. So, we are going to have 3 technical presentations, one from Hire, the other from Kajaria, and the third from Roka Bathroom Products. I request the people to be ready with the presentations. The first presentation would be from our title partner, Hire Appliances. May I request Mr. Debajit Sen, the company's director, to come and give his presentation. I would humbly request to strictly adhere to the prescribed time limit. So the first presentation from Hire Appliances.
Good afternoon. Before the presentation starts, I would like to state that this year we are celebrating 20 years of our operation in India. So it's a proud moment for us. Okay. So you can see besides Hire, there are some more brands written at the bottom. So all these are actually Hire brands. Thank you. So we are consecutively the #1 brand in major appliances. And when I say major appliances, it is the compressor products and the washers, the washing machines. These are our prestigious association. What we offer in India, we have a huge range of product basket, and they are really innovative in a way, and fit into our daily needs as well as the commercial needs. So in India, we are headquartered in Greater Noida. We have two factories, one in Noida and one in Pune. So almost 95% of our products are made in India in both the factories. So this is an AV about hire.
Founded in 1984, Higher Group is a world-leading provider of solutions for a better life. Focusing on user experience and keeping abreast of the times, Higher has topped global major appliances brand rankings by Euromonitor International for 12 consecutive years. Its subsidiary, Higher Smart Home, is among the list of Fortune's Global 500. India, the world's second most populous country, is becoming a mainstream emerging market with rapid economic growth. Higher, keeping in mind the globalization concept of creating mainstream brands in mainstream markets, saw its first presence in India in 2004. Started as refrigerator factory with an area of only 36,000 square meters, Higher has gradually developed and established the Pune factory, Pune Industrial Park, and Noida Industrial Park. With continuous launch of new industrial park projects, its 3-in-1 localization strategy of R&D, manufacturing, and sales and marketing has become the most reliable stronghold in India market.
Moving on to the commercial products. So this is our HVAC range that we offer in India. Coming to the chillers, we have the entire range of chillers, starting from the oil-free range and a modular type as well, and both in water-cooled as in air-cooled version. We have the normal screw, the scroll, and the rotary chillers as well. These are the chill water terminal devices. We also have that in different varieties. This is VRF. We call it MRV. This is our patented name. This is the range. So something very new that we have introduced recently, that is the side discharge VRF with higher capacity and modular type. We can combine units together. Now this is something very interesting. In the VRF segment of HVAC industry, the communication plays a big role, communication from outdoor to indoor. And we are still, the industry as a whole, still in a state of, I would compare with a landline, where the wired connection is there. So we have come up with something very innovative, very unique, which is, I will say, the mobile era, the wireless era. So a video will show you what exactly it is, how it works.
Higher MRV5 initially adopts leading wireless communication technology in the industry. is a kind of wireless communication technology featured with smart auto networking and easy link. Compared with traditional wired communication, it can make the installation and maintenance more convenient. Labor saving. Wireless communication. Smart auto networking. Wireless communication, from complex connection to simple one. Convenient maintenance. Make as well.
Director, please put your hands together. Mentor, director. But I have 5 minutes.
of tile keeps Uttar Pradesh. Name of eternity over there. Then is one polish vitrified tiles. We have got our plants in sanitary of faucets also. We are also into ply. Talking about the product range, to serve you, we have got more than 18 sizes, and the product range is more than 3,000 designs over there. And as said, our plants are all over the India. We have got our plant beginning from Secunderabad, that's in Uttar Pradesh. We have got 2 plants in Rajasthan. One is Srikalahasti, Andhra Pradesh. There is one in Telangana. There are 2 plants at Morbi. We have got our sanitaryware and faucet plants also. Kajaria is the only ceramic tile company which has been awarded 13 times as a super brand 13 times in a row, and that has been achieved only by 60 corporates of India. We are also Asia's most promising brand. There are many certificates like GRIHA, Green Building certificates with us. Talking about the exports, because exports has increased phenomenally, we are exporting to more than 35 countries in the world. And for that also we have got multiple showrooms. Currently we have got showrooms at Dubai, we have got showrooms at London, Melbourne. There are many more in the planning, and will be opening in the next financial year. Now the size of the tile has changed. The customer is demanding bigger sizes. For that we have introduced a new series called Ultima series. And the sizes, there are many more sizes available in that particular series. If you could clear that video. Earlier the tile were manufactured by the pressing technology, we call it. But since the size has increased and we were facing a lot of problem of waviness in the tile, this is a new technology, we called it Continua Plus technology. And Kajaria is the only company which has got its plant in north and south as well for Continua Plus. When we talk about Continua Plus technology, there is a stainless steel pressing system due to which the equal pressure is founded on the tile. So it reduces the waviness of the tile. Tile become more flexible and it has got better strength also. There are multiple surfaces in the sizes what we have discussed. Like earlier we used to call it matte, polish, silk matte, marble tech. Now there are many more finishes we have come up with. There is one we call it Beyond series because it is inspired by superior matte finish quality. Normal matte finish style used to have less than 20% of light reflection, but with the Beyond series, we claim that the light reflection will be lesser than 5%. Then there are bold texture over there. We create a stone kind of texture, cement kind of texture. Earlier it used to be with the pressing machine. Now with the new technology, we are doing it with the help of ink and glaze. Bliss for the highlighters we make it. Dry granulata we call it. We are using a special kind of glaze for with higher reflection of the light, so that tile becomes lesser over there. 4D, we just have the video where we are claiming that we have got 4 different sizes with 4 different finishes. These are the clients whom we are serving all over India, and there are many more as well, and we are thankful to you all for approving, helping Kajaria to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was an insightful presentation. Again, I would remind all the presenters to kindly complete their presentation within 5 minutes. Every brand gets 5 minutes. Now may I call upon Mr. Rajneesh Nandan, National Sales Head, Roka Bathroom Products, our gold partner, to give his presentation with humble request to adhere to the prescribed time limit, which is 5 minutes only. So, yes, over to Mr. Rajneesh Nandan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now she has given a timeline. Generally, we are propagating everyone to spend more time in bathroom, but unfortunately, I have only 5 minutes to spend there. So, thanks to Smartex for giving us this opportunity to be here. And when we talk about our connect in this function, and it has started recently, but has gained a lot of importance. So, congratulations to all the directors and all the who's who of Smartex. Thank you very much. So, I will take you briefly to the importance of bathroom and about the history of Parryware. So welcome everyone, and welcome to the best place now in our household, that is the bathroom. Earlier, in our childhood, it was one secluded place in some corner of the house, but this flat culture and villas culture, especially post-COVID, you can say the interest of being in home, we are now in the glamours and in the own bathroom concept. We, Parryware, are making bathrooms in India since 1952, and it's a very old saga. Everybody knows it was part of Murugappa Group earlier. Now, where we belong to? Of course, we belong to each and every household of yours, and Parryware Everywhere concept. And we are now not only into just providing sanitary ware. We are providing technology to the bathroom, not heard about. We have touch-free bathrooms. We have design for your comforts. We have luxury. We have hygiene. We have stain-free, and more to talk about. We are more into the status of any individuals today to show their bathroom. Parryware was taken over in 2006 by Roka. Roka is a 107 years young company because it's a young culture here in Roka. And we are present in 4 continents and more than 170 towns, important towns, you can say important places in India. We have 81 manufacturing unit, and we have more than 24,000 employees working for us. And to give more stress, we have 9 factories in India. 4 for sanitary ware, China ware, 3 for plastics, seat covers and cisterns, 1 mega factory, state-of-art factory for faucets, and recently we have added Parryware pipes, which is in Alwar. So we have 9 factories. So competing with vocal for local, we are there with all our designs, and all the factories are dust-free factories, which I think everybody is invited to visit the same. This is our history. Roca started in 1917 with making radiators. And then we went into innovating bathrooms. And I will ask one question, if anybody can reply except our own organization. Which is the first brand which made wall hung toilets? Not Roca, not Perrier. Anyone? Anyway, I was just discussing with Sonali ma'am, and she has used that brand in different projects. It is Laufen, which Roca took over in 1999. 125 years back, Laufen was the first brand which made wall hung in the world. First wall hung was made by Laufen, and in 1999 Roca took over Laufen, and in 2006-07 we launched ourselves. Today Roca is the largest manufacturer of sanitary ware in the world. Coming to our homeland India, launch of Parryware under the umbrella of EID Parry India Limited, and 1980 Murugappa Group took over. And we have a wide range of products to suit all the benchmarks, all the financials as well as the design aspects. In 1990, we changed the world for the bathroom concept. We started glamour rooms concept, not bathrooms only. And in 2006, Parryware becomes a part of the bigger giant of Spain, Roca. Then Parryware unveils new look brand afresh in 2015. We have our brand and marketing managers, who I will call them, that they are the backbone behind us. Then in 2017, we launched our brand positioning always in fashion, whether it's colors, whether it's designs, whether it's, you can say, the architectural aspects of the house. You dream it, you design it, you think it, we are there in your bathroom. And in 2022, post-COVID inspiration, we have bathrooms as your rooms campaign. Our network span across 600 cities, and dealers, retailers, architects, contractors, builders, and plumbing technicians. We are one of the most preferred brand due to our services. We have 6 display studios, 9 factories, as I told, 7 offices, and 42 customer care centers. Earlier, when we were the first to start customer care centers in sanitary ware. Of course, faucets needs customer care, but I'm talking about like 80s and early 90s. We were the first brand to introduce customer care because flushing and other aspects was also there involved in China ware. This is our brand positioning. So this is the pyramid which is growing. Top level is growing very, very fast, as well as the big mid level. There are 5 segment unorganized. Of course, local players are there from Gujarat and other places. Affordable, we have a brand called Johnson Pedder for affordable housings and budget housings. Mass premium is Parryware, and which I think this brand is known to everyone. And this brand stands for its own signature with the appeal and the strength which we are giving into. Then we have super premium Roca, which is there in hospitality, big premium housing. And then we have a luxury brand called Armani Roca and Laufen. So we have an offering from 18,000 to 20,000 rupees per bathroom to around 25 to 30 lakhs rupees per bathroom. We have a lot of colors options in Parryware. Transforming your bathroom into a functional space, into a personal sanctuary where you can truly love yourself. We can say this 4 posters talks about everything. And we are spending time in bathrooms, so I see a lot of inquiries generated in our studios, showrooms, and sales team, because I am 27 years in this industry. We also have transformed from just a sanitary ware seller to a technology seller, to a design seller, to a color seller, to make bathrooms more feel like your room's concept. So brand pillars, legacy brand, trust, creativity and innovation, always in fashion. Always in fashion means whatever you are transforming. And we have seen a lot of powerful presentation, but our all senior architects here, and we are contemplating and we are trying to match the whole concept with you.
बाथरूम कोई आम कमरा या रूम नहीं है, एक जादुई एहसास भी है। जब दिल जोर जोर से धड़के तो सिर्फ ये सुनता है, और जब वही दिल टूटे तो सबसे छुपाता है, खुद से मिलवाता है और खुले बाहों से अपनाता है। यहाँ उम्र के कोई मायने नहीं, बचपन हो या जवानी, हर रूप यहाँ निखरता है। यहाँ हर फिक्र को बुलबुलों में उड़ाने की खुशी भी है। आपकी पूरी दुनिया बदल भी जाए, पर यहाँ आप नहीं बदलते, और खुद के जैसा होने से बड़ा कोई फैशन नहीं। इसलिए पैरीवेयर की दुनिया में हम इन्हें कहते हैं यू रूम्स। पैरीवेयर, ऑलवेज इन फैशन। बाथरूम कोई आम कमरा या
So as we mentioned, we are leader in sanitary ware, and we have all the designer products which I have mentioned. Vanities that speak your style. We have recently added vanities to make your bathroom more compact. Perfection. I think perfection is the name synonyms to Parivare offerings. Don't speed up in bathroom, for the OV. No, no, no. Yes. So we are thrilled to see the accolades for most promising new product in building material category for outstanding Prasio faucet collections, and we have all the brand managers. Can I call Himanshu and Munish and all the team here to say hello to everyone. These are the pillars behind our brand offerings to you, making glamour rooms always in fashion. Complete. So Parivare is everywhere, and we have a lot of signature projects. Yasho Bhumi, IICC, which was a must talked about products. We are there in some places of Bharat Mandapam also. We are in our parliament, new parliament. We are in the Narendra Modi Stadium. Unfortunately, India lost the game, but I think the next time we will be there. But in bathrooms, we are present. Allahabad, lots of airports, Allahabad airports, Varanasi airport, all the Google offices which are coming up. Then we have Taj hotels in cities, and we have a lot of signature projects. We have like Elevate Heinz, Gurgaon, and all top projects we are doing. These are some of the iconic projects we have done recently. A lot of aims we are doing now because a lot of hospitals which is coming. We have a majority of hospitals done by our brand there. Then Maruti, Nexus showrooms and all engineering, top engineering colleges. So please do visit our Parivare Pavilion, and Parivare is everywhere. Thank you very much, and thanks for the patience. I try to be a little faster, so thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Nandan, for this informative presentation on Parivare, our gold partner. Moving on, we would like to take the privilege of honoring our speakers today by giving them the mementos. So, may I call upon Mr. Pankaj Malhotra, National Sales Head, Emerge Glass India Private Limited, to give away the mementos to our speakers. Mr. Pankaj Malhotra, please come on stage. I also request Mr. Vivek Butch from Gujarat Guardian Limited to give away the mementos to our speakers. Mr. Vivek Butch, we welcome you on stage. We would like to give away the memento to architect Tanmay Tathagat. Let's welcome architect Tanmay Tathagat on stage. He is Director, Environmental Design Solutions. Architect Sujata Hingorani, we welcome you on stage. Architect Sujata Hingorani is Principal, Landscape Oasis Designs. Architect Sheetal Rakheja, Chairperson IGBC Delhi Chapter. Architect Darius A. Choksi, please come on stage to receive the memento. He is Director, Architecture, CCBA Private Limited. We are delighted to present the memento to Architect Choksi. Architect Deependra Prasad, Principal and Planner, DPAP Studio. Please come on stage and receive your memento. Thank you, Mr. Malhotra and Mr. Butch, for doing the honor. Thank you for joining us on stage. I request Mr. Architect Tanmay Tathagat to
Thank you. Just our vote of thanks more than closing. The presentations and the sessions speak for themselves. So I really wanted to thank the Smartex team for thinking of putting a session as interesting as this and getting our friends Amin and Amrita to really curate it, and the way the presentations and the different speakers were positioned and the way the provocation was given. I think I really learned a lot and enjoyed the session. And Professor Mathur, if he's there, the thought and the thinking behind the competition, the design competition, and the way the process went, and the congratulations to the winners. And really, it's tough to summarize all the things, but I'll just give my personal takeaways from the Suzlon Worth presentation from Darius. The resilience and of the process of design and in the design itself, which in a way is timeless. You look at a building which was built a while ago, but still stands as a contextual and current building. The way materials were used, the way glass was used. Sheetal probably left, but very interesting and inspiring to see a net zero journey, and to see that one could get to that level of thinking in a variety of range of projects. So it's not just one or two. And really, I knew about Bharat Mandapam, but Sanjay talked about the challenges of scale and how do you get get the thinking about all these issues, security, safety, access to something that really is a project that will stand out for decades, if not more. Dipendra, we had, of course, tough questions for you in the panel, but you escaped all of them. But really, your resilience and the way public projects can lead the way and be done in a way that it's not just the private sector project, but the public with all its challenges. Really wonderful learning, and the high level of technical expertise that you bring, and that really speaks for itself in the project. Sonali, I mean, we know the practice, amazing projects, but I really like the way that this project that she talked about not only became an interesting project, the way community and the client work together, but also transform their practice. So how not just the architects influencing the client with the project, and a client can actually influence a practice for a change. Of course, Chitra for the provocation, but it was not very provocative because you already provided all the answers. So it was like a like an open book test. So we see a solution, we see an answer to all the questions in the work that you do, and congratulations on the award. I also would like to appreciate the our sponsors, but whatever I hear, it was interesting to see that Haier, Kajaria, Roka, all global brands, all multinational companies, but the focus of what is being presented and discussed is all about being local, being sustainable, and that is a very heartening thing to see, that it's not just the luxury or the product feature, but underlying theme of sustainability that's weaving the narrative even from a marketing perspective. So that was interesting. And of course, finally, to my friend Sujata for her curiosity, enthusiasm, and her presentation, which set the perfect stage for the discussion to follow. So thank you all. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, architect Tanmay Tathagat, for inspiring us through your words and taking us through all which happened in session 1 in such an interesting manner. Thank you, Mr. Tathagat. Before we go on the break, we have something great to be unveiled here. Are you ready for something to be unveiled here on stage? Yes? Can I hear a loud yes from all of you? Yes? May I call upon Mr. Sumit Gupta from Green Lamb Industries Limited to come on stage for the needful.
Interiors are a pursuit dedicated to feeding the soul with the best it deserves. Much like a living entity, interiors evolve alongside. It is a haven that instills peace and calm. It is an expression of art, ever evolving, natural, organic, and eclectic, presenting a transformative wave of aesthetic brilliance, a language of timeless opulence and style. From the house of Asia's largest integrated surfacing and wood panel brand. Introducing the art of forever elegance. The 2024-2026 new Mica 1mm laminates collection. A fusion of form and function, born to translate spaces and redefine grace. Our 1mm laminates got revamped with exciting additions and enticing new looks. The collection unveils 5 contemporary trends, 81 new decors, and 3 unique textures, exhibiting a spectrum of variations. From the fluted groove, adding depth and character to any space. the magical diner, reminiscent of the Roman architecture, to the elegance of Oxford with its unique fabric texture, emulating real cloth's touch. Every laminate tells a story with intricate textures, unparalleled designs, and a sense of uniqueness. Supermar exudes unmatched gloss. Raso gives ultra matte finish. The all-new hybrid novel gloss collection will eliminate any dull moment in your life, whereas luster epitomizes a luxurious sheen. The wood category encapsulates wood grain patterns. Roca ventures into rugged and porous textures. The stone and concrete emulates the essence of natural stone. Lastly, Solids is a sanctuary where the vibrant colors rejuvenate your senses. Crafted from high-quality European decor paper, the collection stands as a testament to Greenlam's commitment to providing innovative end-to-end surfacing solutions. These cutting-edge and setting laminates boast key features. Of forever elegance, gracefully subtle, blissfully serene, incredibly soothing, shaping the eternal stories of today's world.
So there's going to be an unveiling by Greenlam. May I also request Mr. Alex Joseph from Greenlam to join us on stage? Also, I request some esteemed guests to join us on stage for the unveiling. Architect Chitra Vishwanath, please come on stage. Architect Priyanka Arjun. Architect Biprateep Dhar, Architect Brita Conbell Gupta, please come on stage. Architect Anupam Mittal, Architect Madhup Mazumdar, Architect Amitabh Sharma. I request the audience to please put your hands together for a thunderous round of applause as we witness this unveiling from Greenlam. May I request Mr. Sumit Gupta to tell us more about the folder?
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Firstly, thank you so much to Smartex for giving us this opportunity to unveil our new collection. I think as a brand, we stuck to our commitment of 5 minutes. We managed to wrap up everything within 5 minutes. We have been in touch with all of you as an organization, and I would not go into the detailing of what Greenlam Industries Limited is all about. We just a summary, we are Asia's largest wood panel brand, and with aspirations to be in the leading brand worldwide in the next 2 years. That's an aspiration what we have taken, to be the global leader in the wood panel space within the next 2 years. And we have been deploying adequate investments also in line with our aspirations to take Make in India to a global level. And your Made in India products are currently sold in 107 countries worldwide. So we still have another 90 to go before we would ideally say that we are a global brand present in all countries worldwide. So thank you so much for your continued support, and looking forward to this support in the future as well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for unveiling this shade card, because we thought this would be the right opportunity to have such eminent personalities in the audience. And special thank you so much. Special.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear distinguished guests. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, here we conclude our first session on climate change. It's been incredible. Now it's time for a well-deserved lunch break. Since we are already running late, so we have cut short the lunch time. So the lunch break is going to be only for 30 minutes. So use this time to network and recharge yourselves. We will rejoin in 30 minutes. See you after lunch. Thank you.